I'm very happy about the Francis effect because now art in the social sphere has to take into consideration all the energies and all the aesthetic that social sphere has in its own, beyond the arts. And one of those is the culture of petition and the culture of people believing that through petition they can make social change. So the Francis effect took that aesthetic into its form. That's the form I appropriated. Here it is. So basically what we're doing is outside the museum and in other places as well, collecting signatures, asking the Pope Francis to give Vatican citizenship to all the undocumented immigrants in the world and refugees. It has been interesting seeing people's reaction because some people react to the form of the work, which is petition. Some people think, like already have ideas of they want money, we don't want to deal with that. But some of the people will say, yes, okay, let me listen what you want to do. Have to deal with two different very strong areas. One is religion and the other one is immigration. Both of them extremely intense and everybody has an opinion. The other thing I like is the fact that it gives me, well, not only the opportunity to talk about religious view and immigration to people and try to, let's say, educate people on the subject sometime, but also the third element that people react is the politics, you know? Is art able to change something? So I think it's an extremely difficult piece. I've been for 3 years setting up an institution, which is a lot of work and not very creative most part of the time. So I wanted to do an action that also work with the political imaginary of people. So what I like the most when I'm doing this piece is when you talk to the people and people understand what you're saying, like they almost do like, oh, I understand what you mean. Then it's like, I agree or not, but this moment of oh, what if, you know? And I think political should be the what if by setting the example and giving you the experience on the ground. Something I thought the other day is like, I'm exhibiting my piece by showing it to people. It's almost like this idea of I'm creating a different relationship with the audience towards the work because I'm there, you know, not to be admired as an artist, but to bring them a difficult knowledge, you know, to deal with, and that's interesting. So I think the other side of the project is bringing accountability to a public figure and also to kind of push reform or the commitment of the church that claims to help those in need to change their strategy from charity, which is what they have done for centuries, to public policy. I travel a lot to different places in the world with immigrants were detention centers and so on. And especially in Latin America, the church has taken over the role of social institutions and public institutions. When you go to Casa del Migrante in Mexico, they take all these people who have having horrible experiences, and it's amazing. They arrive, they have food, they can sleep, they have like some break in their life, like some rest, but then they have to leave 48 hours later. There is no negotiable. So that's what charity means. What I want is to call not for charity, but for implementing long-term changes and protection. We want him to actually protect the immigrants also. He will have to talk about it in a different way, not just as a good guy, but as a guy who is in charge of all these people. So October 1st is the last day. Hopefully by then we can have maybe some communication with the Pope, we'll see.